Hey guys, Mono here. So I just finished watching Linus's video on how they got hacked and lost their account, or at least lost control of it for a few hours. They did manage to take the account back through YouTube because they have a YouTube representative that works with them. So they basically contacted him or her and got the account back in a few hours or minutes or whatever. Now, I don't have a YouTube contact person, and I suffered from the same attack 2 weeks ago. Fortunately, they didn't take over the account because otherwise I really wouldn't be here and I would have lost many years of work, which, would have been absolutely devastating. But I did open the file that they sent. I did try to run it, but thankfully I was quick enough that they didn't manage to get my account. So here's what happened. I got sent a DM through Twitter from someone claiming to be a representative for marketing of a site selling online language courses. Now, I don't want to tarnish that site's name by association, so I won't mention who they were, but it is important to note that it was a real site and not a scam, right? That this was an actual business. It was just someone claiming to be a representative from them. Now, usually what happens is if they send you an email claiming to be a representative, for example, I've had it happen with NordVPN, with a NordVPN sponsorship, and the email sender was, not from nordvpn.com or anything. So I immediately suspected that. I replied saying like, yo, why aren't you sending me an email through your corporate account? Why are you sending me one through a Google account? And they never got back to me. So obviously a scam. But through Twitter, it was actually much harder for me to notice anything odd because this account was retweeting and replying to posts done by the site that they claimed to work for, so it all seemed very legit. So once we started talking, they sent me a file through a Google Drive folder. This was a zip file with two files, one being a video of the site and second one being a PDF. The video, which I looked up first, was just standard brand marketing stuff from that site, and it again was completely legit. Just a video presenting the company and their products. Now, the other file was a PDF, but the actual file extension it ended with was SCR, which at the time I thought it was like a digital signing thing, contract, online PDF, whatever. So I didn't really suspect from it, and I know some of you are like groaning at the screen saying, how can you be so dumb? And I completely agree, but to my credit, like, I've been a target of scams before, and this one actually passed all my previous checks, right? Which were to validate the website, validate the account I was getting tweeted from or sent emails from. And the other thing I didn't notice about the PDF was that it was a whopping 700 megabytes, which is not a usual file for the PDF, right? So I didn't notice that. I did notice this SCR, but I clicked on it anyway. I'm an idiot, I know. I didn't notice the size because I have really fast internet, so I downloaded the file in like a few seconds, so I wouldn't have noticed the file size anyway. So anyway, I ran the file and nothing happened. And as soon as that happened, I was like, did I just open a virus or something? So I immediately Googled SCR file scam and immediately got a couple of results, including a video on YouTube, which I will link to down in the video description for you guys to watch because it explains this in a bit more detail. So as soon as I saw those search results, I unplugged the Ethernet cable. I use a wired connection here, not Wi-Fi. So as soon as I unplugged that, the internet was gone from this computer. So I figured if the PC is compromised, at least it won't be able to send anything if it hasn't sent something already. As soon as I did that, I then ran Windows Defender, which immediately found the file to be a Trojan called Whack-Attack BML, which I also Googled and found that it is a Trojan that is designed to steal your session tokens. So it doesn't only steal your password, but even if you have two-factor authentication, it will still work because it basically steals the cookies that say that you are logged on. So they can use that anywhere and log on to your account. They won't be able to change passwords or anything, I think, because of the two-factor authentication. But the other thing they do apparently is they will clear the cookies after stealing them in order to force you to log in again and maybe gain access through that way. Now, I was lucky enough to have a second PC free of, this virus. So I changed my most important accounts, logins, and passwords as soon as possible. So Google, bank accounts, and stuff like that. Noticeably absent from my mind at that time was Facebook, which was the only account, as far as I can tell, that got stolen. So I lost my Facebook account, but honestly, who cares? And then I actually had to go to my dad's for lunch. This was on a Saturday midday, and all the while I was having barbecue, I was thinking about my hacked PC at home. And I was deliberating in my mind if I should just nuke the entire system, or now that I had eliminated the virus through Microsoft Defender, if I was just ready to go again. So I decided to err on the side of caution, and I nuked the entire Windows operating system, because I had done that recently and I had a ISO file on a USB, which was actually plugged into the computer at the time. So, it was going to be a really fast process. And though I did lose some files, I have multiple disks where I store my gameplay footage, so I wouldn't lose anything. And I know those disks aren't compromised, because the way this works is it basically injects something into Windows to make this all work. So once Windows was gone, everything would be fine. And all of the files that I need for YouTube, like images, like the channel logo and animations and stuff like that, are all stored in multiple backups, both online on OneDrive and Google Drive, as well as the laptop and other HDDs. So disks that are in this computer, but also external HDD drives that I keep around. And while Windows was installing, I just grabbed the laptop and kept changing passwords. And oh my god, we have so many accounts for every single thing these days. It takes hours. I actually haven't changed all of my passwords yet, because I'm not gonna change one for like a restaurant reservation thing, right? I don't care about that. But since then, I've been very paranoid of any sponsorship offerings. So what I did to reduce the risk of this happening again was I installed a virtual machine. Now, if you don't know what a virtual machine is, it's basically a PC inside your PC that is running sort of separately, mostly separately. There is some technicality to that I won't get into right now. And this was actually surprisingly easy to do. It took me like maybe 15 minutes to do. I installed VMware, which is a software for virtual machines. It was just click, next on the install and basically default on every setting. And I downloaded a Linux Mint ISO to install Linux as the operating system for that VM, which initially I had downloaded Windows, but I figured might as well make it small and reduce the risk of any harmful file that I open by having a Linux operating system, which is just not gonna be infected by a Windows-based Trojan, probably. So if you run a YouTube account, I highly recommend you do this and you use that virtual machine to open any files that you think might be potentially dangerous, because even being careful, it might actually happen sometime. The other thing I do recommend is you do not store passwords on that account and you clear cookies once the browser closes. So the way you do that is basically search on the settings for it not to prompt you to save logins ever. And then there's a setting for the cookies for them to be cleared every single time. So that way, if the worst thing happens and you do open a malicious file on that VM, you can instantly close Firefox or whatever it is you're running and just have everything be deleted as soon as possible. So that's my story, guys. And I think what I've learned from this and what I can recommend to anyone is that you need to be suspicious, but you also have to react quickly. I think the reason why my account wasn't stolen was primarily because I unplugged the Ethernet cable. Maybe if I hadn't done that, I would not have managed to, save this in time. And I also, after that, ran the antivirus and just shut down the PC and changed everything as soon as possible. And, that's it. It was really stressful to go through that. I am glad that I didn't lose access to this channel that took me so long to build. So, yeah, be careful, use a VM, and do not store passwords or cookies on it. And hopefully that's going to be enough for your YouTube account or any other account not to get hacked. Alright, so this was a bit of an unusual video compared to what I usually do, which is gameplay and tutorials and stuff like that. But I did want to get this out there because I do think it's important, and hopefully people can learn from my experience as well. As always, thank you for watching. Please give the video a like if you found it useful, subscribe to the channel for more, and I hope I will catch you in the next one.